I'd like to welcome you guys to this week's report. Today is Thursday, October 2nd. I want to make a little announcement about the announcements that I've been making in recent videos. After thinking about and conferring with Matt, I will save future announcements for the end of videos. So if you're interested in hearing about upcoming events or anything like that, please stay tuned to the end. Or you can skip my nonsense, just go to the end now and hear about that stuff if you're interested. I do have one announcement I will make though, since this is something you guys were all involved in. Had something very special happen at Steel Beach Boat Works earlier this week.
Alright guys, it is a big day. She's alive.
The motor is on the boat and running, which is great news. We're getting pretty close to wrapping this whole thing up. I can't thank Ricky enough for all of his generosity, and I can't thank you guys enough for the generosity you showed in helping us to raise this money. Adam, I sent you a text message. I finally finished up your rod. I don't know if you saw it, but please text me back and I'll set up to drop it off for you. Okay, so on to the bad news. It's going to be windy. Windy tomorrow. So basically Friday it's windy area everywhere. Very windy up North Channel Islands. Saturday it's windy in most areas. I mean, it's going to be blowing out of the west offshore, then at the islands, and it's going to be blowing south along the beach. Sunday, the good news is it's only windy in some areas, but still windy. Cortez, Tanner Banks, windy. Not as windy as it is going to be on Friday and Saturday, but the residual wind waves and everything else will make it very unpleasant out there. So if you're going on a big long range boat, that's one thing. If you're thinking about taking your smaller boat out there, I would avoid it. That being said, the forecast has been a little bit wrong recently, so do your due diligence, check it before you head out. If I was going to take my boat out tomorrow, I'd be on the Windy app comparing the weather station data, the real-time weather station data against the forecast data. And then I would look and see what the conditions are supposed to be overnight. And when I get up in the morning, if I decide to go, I'm going to compare the actual real-time data with what was forecast, because that can help you predict if the forecast is right or wrong. And if it's wrong and it's worse, you're going to be glad you did it. And if it's wrong and it's better, you might be bummed that you stayed home on a potentially good day. The normal Windy app is not going to give you that information unless you buy the premium subscription. I think it's like $25 a year or something. It's worth every penny. I'm not affiliated, but I use it daily. So, heading up to the Channel Islands, which will be basically unfishable the next few days. I just talked to Pat from the Aloha Spirit. He's definitely going to be staying at the dock tomorrow at least, and probably Saturday as well. They're still having mixed bag fishing up there. Halibut, rockfish, lingcod, that kind of stuff. I think once the weather settles down again, I don't know that they'll have another shot at sea bass this year. Or at least not a good shot. Historically, we have had fish in October, but the more weather and everything else they get there, the less likely it is to happen. So, good news is that deeper water rock fishing is open, so they're getting the quality reds and things like that now. Not just fishing the shallow stuff. Yeah, speaking of deeper water, I talked to Oliver, who started running his deep water rock cod trips. And I was kind of in the general Santa Barbara, San Nick zone, so I'll just include it in that report. But he's been getting some nice reds, having some fun doing it, and also catching a few tuna in the same general area.
The place keeps running. Yeah! Let's get this started!
Double troubles. Oh my goodness, we got a flopperoo.
He gives us the old flopperoo.
Nice, Red. Come here, buddy.
Can I go back down?
Yeah, you can. That's a nice one.
Heck yeah,
Yo, that is not a cow cod. That is a mega vermilion.
Is this a good one?
Says the guy from Abilene, Texas. He don't know.
Look how thick this thing is, man.
Dude, that's a slug, bro. That's the biggest one so far. New PB. You know, guys live and fish here their whole lives, bro, and never see one this big, let alone catch one. I'm not kidding.
That's the favorite of the woods, brother.
Oh man. One of my favorite rockfish to target, the copper. These guys doubled up on some big ones. They're going straight back down to the bottom. Thanks, fish. A little catch and release action.
His eyes ain't even blown out on mine.
Yeah. Look at that. That's what we waited all summer for. Deep zone. Jigging big reds.
And I caught this one.
Nah.
All right, biter number 2. Pretty fun sized. Look at those belly marks. All right, Texas boys are catching them casting at foamers now. Look at that.
Yeah! That's right, baby.
I also got a report from Martin Stanley. He fished a 2-day trip aboard the Amigo. They fished San Nick. Said it was pretty tough to make squid. Maybe it wasn't a 2-day trip, just a day trip. Sorry about that. I got that confused with another report I have for later. He said they had a tough time making squid. And then they fished the sea bass zone. They got 1 sea bass, about a 200-pound black sea bass that they safely released. Conditions kind of dried up, so they went into the kelp to try and fish for whitefish and sheephead, but the lack of conditions had that pretty tough as well. He did get a few nice calicos on the Colt Sniper, and they also caught a few sheephead and whitefish, but nothing to write home about. And then they went out to deeper water and had wide open lingcod fishing, and almost had limits. You know, you get some that are short, some guys that don't know what they're doing. That's often will keep you getting full limits. And he said on the way home they found a foamer, a small bluefin that would not cooperate, which is kind of the theme for the week here, non-cooperative bluefin. So, heading down to Clemente. Finally got some bass coverage. Gary Reyes and Jay Jones gave the 200 break, and we're joined by James Little. They had good calico bass fishing. They said conditions were kind of funky, so the better bite was later in the day. And later today, these guys, it's just before dark, I'm sure. I don't want to stay out there that late, but at least they had some decent weather last weekend to do it. This weekend, however, the weather is not going to be so decent, so don't go to Clemente on a skiff. Yeah, Fury and the Thunderbird are still doing the same thing, fishing the backside for yellows. Thunderbird had a pretty good score on day 1 or 2 of a multi-day trip they were on, and they got some real good graded fish. The Fury's doing the same. Still some smaller yellowtail on the front, bass fighting as well. I talked to Ron Matro, him and his son Caden were on a 2-day trip on the Apollo. They fished Cortez and Tanner the first day, got some nice bluefin, and then the second day they fished Clemente. The yellowtail fishing wasn't wide open, I think the boat had 4, but Caden did get a 38-pounder, which is a heck of a nice fish. So in the Catalina, Pursuit is still catching some nice yellowtail. I'd assume in the backside west end somewhere. That's where they like to fish. I don't think they're sneaky enough to be running to SBI right now, but it wouldn't be out of the question either. I fished Catalina on Sunday. I need to shoot some photos for an article I had to write this week, but I went with Jimmy and Briggs on Jimmy's Everglades, and we launched at Newport. It was a giant south swell. So, if you guys are unfamiliar with the way Catalina sets up on a south swell, the backside, the east end of the island, from basically the rock quarry up to Church Rock, is hit the heaviest by the swell. And there's a lot of areas in there where there's really never any water movement except on a south swell. And I've learned that if you see that, if you know the south swell, you start in those areas that don't really get much movement normally, because they're going to be the most fishable of the spots there. So we started out by the quarry on the east end, and that area, if you're trying to fish it, it looks like there's just no fish there at all. But there are a lot of fish, but they just don't set up in a way that they're easy to target. A lot of kelp there, a lot of other stuff. So we set up outside of that the riprap there, and found an area with some good water movement, and pretty much roped them. I think we had over 30 fish in an hour. Had a few heartbreaks. Jimmy lost 2 and Briggs lost 1. they were very nice fish. And, I pulled on enough of them to know that they're, good grade. Maybe, 5 to 7 or 8 pound fish. The problem there is isolated kelp stringers outside of that rock. You basically have to sit in the kelp to get the casting distance you need to be in. And the current had the kelp laid down quite a bit. You couldn't really see it to steer the fish around it, and you get the shake of the hook on there and they shake off. So, sorry about that. They were using the very rare 7-inch gulp jerk shads, which I'm trying hard to get Pure Fishing to bring back into U.S. production. They do make them to sell in Australia. They also make a 9-inch. But for some reason, the powers that be aren't really interested in selling them here in the United States. They actually make them in the United States and ship them to Australia. So that's an ongoing thing. Probably one of the best baits for boiler zone bass fishing. Maybe I got a little bit of video here of Jimmy and Briggs catching some fish. I haven't selected the video yet, so I don't know exactly how long it's going to be, but I'll see you afterwards. Oh boy.
Fishing kind of slow.
Kind of roll it down.
Fuck, he got in there. Oh, there it is. We're gonna get to see one.
Oh boy.
That was not even a giant.
Dude, right on my
Turn around real quick, Jimmy.
Get in there.
Perfect. Kind of bring it on the bottom out.
Yes, on the bottom, very slow. Let it sit for a minute.
Go ahead, get rigged up, Jimmy. I'll spin the boat around.
They're laying in that trough.
Yeah.
And then you just like bring it down, stop it, let it float around a little bit, and a couple of clicks so it gets somewhere here, and then stop. These fish kind of slow back, and then they're picking it up while it's floating around.
Dude, those other ones were fucking
So those two I lost were fucking probably over 5 pounds each.
Jimmy's not exactly batting 1,000 today.
Back in the jerk shot fucking program. Nice. Triple up here. One more. Briggs has got a good one.
Nice.
Pretty good fishing here on the front
Yeah.
side.
I had a feeling it might be.
Yeah.
with that swell.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, Dak.
Oh, fuck.
Oh boy.
Here's another good one. Yeah.
Good God. Hold on a minute. I can get the
Fighting.
camera. Let me get the camera. So after that, we made a few passes through the zone that was blind deer caught fish, and then as we got to the areas we normally fish in the east end, between, let's say, Seal Rocks and Church Rock, the swell there was just too big. It was overhead waves. There was so much water movement that the water temp had dropped from 70 degrees in front of the quarry to 64, 63.8. at Church Rock. But as I mentioned about the way Catalina lays out with that south swell, that area is getting hammered, but if you drive another mile up the backside towards like Orange Rocks, you get in the shadow of Clemente, and that swell drops off completely. So water's jumped back up to 70 degrees again. Not much current anywhere. We basically drove around catching nothing for about an hour. Now we've had a little trickle of conditions at Salter Verde in the isolated kelp on the inside of the point there, and got a few bites. There you go.
Oh, look at them all. Come on, let me have another one.
There you go.
Could have got 3.
Yeah, anyway, so we by 10:30 or 10 o'clock we knew it was over, but we stuck out until I think almost 11, and that was about an hour too long. Actually, we could have left after that bite on the east end, because knowing how Catalina is and those conditions with that swell and everything else, I figured we were pretty much done by 9 o'clock in the morning. But you know, you gotta give the old Collet's try for at least a couple more hours. Locally, I talked to Fumio, who's quickly becoming a master at fishing Palos Verdes. He fished, I think Friday or Saturday, and up around Rocky Point. Said good conditions. He had slower fishing. He got 13 bass. He got one that was a little over 6 pounds, and he actually got a little bit nicer yellow, not the little lemon bass we've been getting up there. It looks like a 10 or 12 pounder maybe. He said there's not much service action going on. He got his fish on 5-inch swim baits. And the one spot of feeding bass that he did see that were up chasing bait, they got 3 bass and he got that yellowtail. So, you know, that's pretty much the determining factor whether or not PB is going to kick out on any given day, is if those bass find that service bait and get active. My last few trips up there, it's not happened. See a lot of them, see a lot of scattered bass, but they're just not biting. They get that bait corralled up, and it's go time. So, yeah, the reports from local and San Diego and everything kind of thin this week. I know the Coronados did not really bite too well. The full day boats down there have been trying to run offshore to catch fish. That's not been so easy, but and this weekend the offshore fishing is going to be tough for private boaters. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be windy. And even Sunday, if it's not so windy, if the forecast holds up Friday and Saturday, Sunday's going to be a mess as well, even if it's not that windy. So as far as the tuna go, there's still that bluefin in the triangle from Clemente to west end of Cat to SBI. All small stuff. Not a lot of it. Not a lot of coverage up there either, though. So I know some boats are stumbling on them. Oliver found some really fished rockfish, so you know it's there. Tanner and Cortez, where the hot bite was happening the last few days. Guys getting yellows, guys getting decent sized bluefin tuna. But again, I don't know how fishable that's going to be. That's kind of outside of the bite, so that's kind of is not protected from that northwest wind and swell. That swell is your biggest factor out there because it comes from very deep water. It's shallow. If you got a lot of northwest swell, after all that wind, it's going to be not too fun out there. But next week looks better. Down south, like I said, the full day boat to San Diego has been struggling this week. There are some bigger fish around there. The Premier got a 140 pounder on their full day trip. My buddies Davis and Javon fished with Brandon Hayward a couple days ago. And they fished somewhere down there. They had limits of bluefin from 30 to about 50 pounds. And easy easy limits of casting lures to foamers. They saw some bigger fish that wouldn't cooperate, which seems to be the case a lot of times right now. There's still yellowfin down there, but I just looked at Fish Dump right now, and it says that stuff is moving south, which is not the direction we want to be moving. If we want to come up here, I was hoping for a little mid-October, late October coastal yellowfin run, but that's starting to, prospects that are starting to peter out a little bit. I guess that's it for the report. Yeah, I've been going back and forth about sharing this, but I guess I'm going to after all. Or maybe I'll delete it, I don't know. Monday morning, I just got back from the gym and Rachel was getting ready to go to work. She got a phone call from her dad saying her mom had passed away Sunday night. Thankfully in her sleep. She wasn't in great health. She was 82 years old. But one of the interesting things is that, the whole family was upset, obviously, but no one really knew what to do next or how to go about things or the right things or wrong things to do when something like this happens. So if you're an older person, or even someone my age, in your 50s or older, and you have kids, do them a favor and sit them down and talk to them about it. Now, this is what I have lined up. This is what I want. These are the things that I don't want a funeral. I want a funeral. I want to be scared of the ocean. I want to be buried under a tree. Whatever. It's an awkward conversation, but it'll give you an opportunity to get your wishes across to them and take a lot of stress off of them on the day that happens. So just keep that in mind. And also, if you are a younger person and you have an older person in your life, take a few minutes to give them a call. Even if you talked to them a week ago, you never know when the last call is going to be. And it actually got me back in touch with my dad. He and I had still been having some tough times with his damn hearing aids, but yeah, putting that aside for now because I don't want to be waking up one morning and getting ready for work, getting a phone call. I wish I'd said something different. So, there you go. A little bummer news, but good advice, I hope. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and just be careful out there if you fish.